do you say when there are no words? Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the AOR Hype Energy F1 2017 Season 14, round number 4 here in the international circuit in Bahrain. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box once again is my faithful companion, the Lord of the Airways, Mr. Hamish Sopwith.
Yes, good evening everyone. Round 4, as you said, Kodiak, in Bahrain. Marcel Kiefer is the first driver on track. Background information, last year's pole time was a 1 minute 27.85. So I would assume that the times are going to be considerably faster this time round. However, I think we were surprised last week on how the times weren't as fast as they were. You know, China, we saw lap times within about a second quicker. But in Azerbaijan, clearly the drivers weren't able to extract the most out of that. Everyone's going to be on the super soft tyres, but I don't know what you've been told, Kodiak. However, it seems like the pit strategies are pretty open for today's race.
Yeah, it depends who you ask. You get pretty much a different answer.
That's exactly what I found.
Yeah, some going for a 2, some going for a 1. I wonder whether people are keeping their cards a little bit more to their chest because of the nature of the pack that we have. A lot of esports runners, a hell of a lot of esports practice going on. So it could be something to do with that. It could be just people, they are simply undecided. So I have no idea what to predict for this race, and that's the way I like it. We love doing this sort of thing live as Master Keeper gets the first time on the ball, 1:27.5, and straight away beaten by Brendan Lee, 1:27.4. Not a great deal in it at the moment, which is always good to see.
Well, that is a seriously quick opening lap. Already he shaved half a second off last year's pole timers, Brendan Lee. We know Brendan's quick round here because obviously this was part of his esports this is part of the esports track last year, which obviously you covered with Justin. Is it this year as well, Kodiak? Or
yes, that's actually the next upcoming esports races. Is at this very circuit happening over the next 3 days. Brendan is already through the qualifiers, so we will not be seeing him. So, but we will have plenty of action going on track nonetheless. Yes, we do indeed only have 14 drivers. We have had a number of people not able to attend this evening's race. Probably a few people enjoying the sun in elsewhere. It's very warm here in the UK.
Yes, it is very warm indeed. Like 25 degrees. So, but those of you who live in America, that's probably like a winter's day for you. But for us, this is like a once a year thing, or once a decade. So yes, it has to be very hot. But me and Kodiak are going to struggle through these
we will
horrendous
press
temperatures.
on. Bring you the best coverage we possibly can for the best of the PC drivers. So let's have a look at who we've got where. I've got Brendan Lee, who's actually gone for another time run whilst we've been talking.
Ooh,
and has beaten it again, 127.399 on the top spot for the Mercedes driver. Second is our current champion, Formula Danny, in the Sauber, 127.544. He presses on. Oh, look at that. That's not even hundredths of a second separates Formula Danny and Marcel Kiefer. Marcel Kiefer just a minute to third with just 1.5 tenths down. Carl Hamilton in the Williams. Had a fairly decent spell out last time qualifying. Aresi, of course, from the he's got stuck behind one of the Mercs. That's not going to help him.
I don't think he was on a hot lap, to be honest.
He's not. Red fuel light, he's on a cool down lap, so he's currently fifth, just 4 tenths down. His teammate Carey is not able to join us. His PC decided to detonate, or that was what he was saying. He's not here, is he? No, he's not. So someone's in one of the Ferraris, I've just noticed. Now this man, Istvan Pukki, I believe that is pronounced, I'll be shot if it's not, is VP Steve. So that is what he is known by. He's in the house, currently sixth, there's 4 tenths down. At the moment, 127.847 for Lottie Photon. The teammate to our champion, as previously mentioned, is currently 7th, 127.858. They are so close, 5th down to 9th particularly, all within the 10th. Absolutely great. Jan Felo was not particularly confident of his chances. He said he hasn't had a lot of chance to do much practice, but he's in 8th, 127.865. And then 1/1000th of a second behind him is the next McLaren of Wycombs, 127.866. So very, very close there. Fabrizio Donoso, last week's very dramatic winner, is down there in 10th at the moment, 127.9. Then non-runner, 128.135. Then VP Max, 128.222. Then it's Tino Norgreen. He has actually asked that I don't use his full name in the esports events, which I found a little bit interesting, as he prefers to use his racing name of Timp, but here I can call him Tino Norgreen all day long. He's currently 13th with that 129.0, and Faloshi Dunedin, who had a massive spin very early on last week, hoped to do better, but he is currently without a time on the board. Photon and Dunedin have just come out for another run.
Yeah, Photon, like you said, he has just came out, but he's ahead of those two drivers. Now, hopefully, he should be alright, because he'll be able to get back to the line with about 3 minutes to go, so let's hope he doesn't get caught up in too much traffic. But as we saw Brendan do, you can set 2 flying laps on these tyres. The reason you might see drivers do 2 flying laps is, one, it gives them another shot at pole, or to get the best out of their car, and it also might suggest that they're going for a 2-stop strategy. It's very difficult to do a super soft medium around here, apparently, unless you're outside the top 10, and even then, that is quite difficult. You're more likely to see a soft medium rather than a super soft medium. So I suspect
Tino Norgreen's actually come out on the softs, interestingly.
That is interesting. So, well, let's...
we can only speculate that he's probably going for a 1-stop then. He's looking to possibly not qualify within the top 10, but let's follow.
He's still in the garage on my... Oh, no, he isn't. Yeah, he's still in the garage on my...
Yeah, it's popped up that he's put softs on his car, so we'll see what's going on there. Photon has just started his lap, so let's follow him through as he hits the very heavy braking zone of turn 1. Gets over to the right-hand side, hard on the loud pedal, clips turn 2, sweeps through turn 3. Fairly decent straight, and we've got a problem in sector 1. Nope, that yellow flag has gone. We now see Brendan Lee, Marcel Kiefer and Carl Hampton on their out laps as well. through 4, a little bit of a lock-up, not too bad though. Sweeps through 5, 6, and then in the left-hand row 7. Heavy breakers over turn 8. Oh, that's one of the Force Indians. That is Marcel Kiefer. Jumps well and truly out of the way. Doesn't hold up the F2 champion at all. Now, sweeps through 9. Positions himself quite nicely on the right-hand side. Big lock-up, though, as he's coming into 10. I think that might have actually been a lock-up as his car did snap as the lock-up seemed to come to an end there. Now, sometimes the lock-ups are incorrect from our view. I think that one may have been correct, though. Sweeps through 11. Now over the left-hand side through 12. There's going to be a little bit of just a dab of the brakes. Down 3 as he sweeps through 13 once more. Doesn't want the too wide. And then it is running on down to 14 over the crest. Gets the braking zone right. A very, very crucial braking zone to get right. He's only fueled up for 1 lap. Gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit of 15. All nice and tidy though as he's coming to the line. Does he improve? He is seconds. 1:27.514. 300ths of a second quicker than Formula Danny. Very nice for the Sauber pair.
Yeah, he needed to make that count, actually. I'm surprised he didn't decide to put
Dornider's in the wall. Dornider has overcooked it on the final turn, and he has smashed into the wall. That is his qualifying done. He will be starting in last.
Yeah, that's the issue of leaving it so late. Brendan Lee is about to start his flying lap as well. That's the issue of leaving it so late. If you make a mistake, then that really is the end of your qualifying. I would be surprised if Dornider adopts that particular tactic next time. Brendan Lee just across the line start his lap now. He's actually already about a 10th down on his potential best so far this session. He made a few mistakes in the first and last sector of his 27.399. So expect him to go a little bit quicker. We'll find out any second if he's faster in this first sector. Although, am I going to get a delta?
No.
I am. But it hasn't came up with if he's faster or slower. I think he is a bit quicker, actually. He's about half a tenth up so far. Turn 10 or 9 and 10 all rolls into one. Such a difficult breaking point. So he's to lock up. Does he? He does a little bit, but he is able to get the car driven onto the inside. DRS wide open for this longish back straight. Not the longest. There is potential for overtaking. Turn 11 sweeping in. You don't want to get too far on the outside here. Very good job by Marcel Kiefer. Point 3. Is Brenda going to have an answer to that? We will find out in just under 25 seconds. Not sure if he's quicker at the moment, but it is looking like a pretty solid lap from Brendan. I said he could gain a 10th. Does he have the pace to gain that 10th? Really tricky corner now. So as we saw Dawn Eden, he spammed the car on exit. Brendan's done a pretty good job. In fact, I'd say he's been overly cautious. I don't think he's going to quite get it. No, he doesn't. He has gone quicker. He did go quicker, but not quick enough. He improved by 7 thousandths, not the 700ths of a second.
Wow, that is how close it is between the top two. Formula Danny is on track coming up to turn 11, so he's got some way to go. He's got to complete sector 2 and then all through the fast sector 3. VP Steve is up to 5th position, 127.548, just 4 thousandths behind this man, Formula Danny. Ressi has come into the pits, his day is done. Wycombs is out there as well.
Danny's just going quick, Kodiak, like really quick. This is potential, sorry to interrupt, but he's about 2 tenths up. 2 tenths is what he needs to get pole. He nails the final corner, floors a throttle all the way to the line, but DRS is wide open. Is he going to get pole? No, he's gone up. It's so close, 2 thousandths off Lee. But wow, 300ths off the pole time of Marcel Kiefer. That was really close from Danny. He was much quicker on that lap. It was very good from him indeed.
That's a big old statement of intent. You got to think that Brendan Lee, that was his 3rd timed lap as well. He did 2 initially, and then that last flyer put him in 2nd position, and Formula Danny was only 2 thousandths off the back of that. Whoa, we're in for a stunner.
We are, but not even a second separates the whole grid. If you take away Dawn Eden, I'm sure he would be able to get within that 1 second margin as well. And even up to Wycombs in P8, there's only 4 tenths. So
That's incredible.
That is incredibly close.
What was
We are
our
in for a good race.
pole time last season? I forgot.
Last year, 7.8, which if you do the maths, where is that what P10ish?
Yes. Wow.
So yeah.
So Donoso jumped up to 7th, and he was sort of near the bottom as the session was drawing to a close. Last week's winner, just managing to fend off Brendan Lee for that amazing win. His first ever AOR win as well. As we jump down to one of the McLarens. That'll be Wycombe. Hopefully he has sorted out his... he did sadly have a screen freeze problem in qualifying that saw him in the wall. But that is the final qualifying session. Confirmation. Hamish, take it away.
Marcel Kiefer, P1. In fact, he's one or two Germans in the top 10. Brendan Lee in P2. Then we have 3 Hungarian drivers all in a row. We've got Formula Danny, Photon, and VP Steve. Carl Hamilton in P6, Donoso in P7. Let's see what he can do from there. Good qualifying from Wycombe P8, Aresi P9, Failer in P10, Non-Runner and Timp in P11 and 12. I find Timp easier to say, so I am going to use
Fair enough.
as his name. So at least we have a 50-50 sort of bias, which will make Tim happy, I'm sure. Or Tino Bukarinen, if you want to.
Absolutely. Right. So, with the drivers have a few seconds then to, they have about 30 seconds indeed, to make any last-minute alterations to their pit strategies, their setups. 50% race is what is going to enact under the lights of Sakir for this evening, and we've seen how close the times are when they are really opening the taps. Let us see how that plays out. Wow, we're taking some time. Well, that was beginning to worry then. That was taking quite some time for someone to confirm. But there we go. The 30-second countdown is now started.
Also, for drivers have their final race preparation, they can still change their strategy, which I'm sure a lot of the drivers will be doing. Although it's only Timp we are waiting for, so all the drivers are seemingly ready to go.
He's making everybody wait. Tim's making everybody wait. Here we go then, down to the grid. It is 4 lights, it's 5 lights. Time to wind them up and let them go. Brendan Lee looking to do something against that Force India. He's tucked in right behind him. Formula Danny has followed suit. Already Formula Danny jumped out from the slipstream. He's trying to go on the inside of Brendan Lee. Doesn't quite get it done though. And the Mercedes does manage to cut the Sauber off, and he's already lost a position. That's Carl Hamilton. That's gone up into 3rd, but Formula Danny's 4th straight back. That's Photon fighting against VP Steve as well. It's all going off exactly as we always have. As the race goes on, that's a lot of cars trying to jump into turn 4, and everybody seems to have got through okay so far. No major gaps. I think everyone's carbon fibre is still where it should be, and already Marcel Kiefer trying to get away from Brendan Lee, but Brendan has already got nearly a second to the winners. Look at that, nearly 3 wide as the pack is beginning to fan out. That's an incredible amount of racing going on. There we go. We see that is Donoso trying to get around to Resi. That's the 7th. It is all going on throughout the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Wycombe's has lost a position, and it looks like Resi, as you just said, he's been making some good gains. Is he able to get a good exit? And no, Donoso's been able to take him around the outside. That's a really solid move by Donoso around the outside turn 11. That's one of the hardest overtakes on the track for sure. Then you've just got this train. I mean, there is virtually no gaps. Although Brendan Lee has been able to open a gap of just over a second, he will want to. Marcel Kiefer has opened the gap of a second over Brendan Lee. He will want to keep that, and that gap is increasing. Carl Hamilton followed very closely by Formula Danny. Formula Danny is running low wings. He might have a chance in the slipstream. He's got the mixture onto Rich. Is he trying to move? He's looking, but it's unlikely to pay off. Wow, so close as VP Steve almost goes right into the back of Danny, and VP Steve gets a fantastic exit. Danny's pushing him onto the outside of the track. VP Steve won't be happy. He's going to try and move on the inside. That's not going to work though. And behind them, Photon is also able to get some good traction off that corner and is able to close that gap ever so slightly.
Wow, what an incredible amount of battling we've got going on here. Marcel Kiefer is really seemingly able to kind of just do basically what Brendan has done time and time again, just build that gap slowly but surely. Already out of DRS range of the Mercedes, but Brendan doesn't have, or he's just on the brink of breaking DRS from the Williams. Although Kyle Hamilton has got his mirrors full of Formula Danny's got much bigger problems in the form of this Haas driver of VP Steve, who in turn has Photon Fabricio Donoso in very, very short succession as well. Everyone has DRS with the exception actually of the top two.
Yeah, I know. I think Kyle Hamilton may very well get DRS on Brendan Lee because he's right on the curfew there. But yeah, I mean, Formula Danny really needs to obviously fastest lap from Marcel Kiefer.
He doesn't have it. I was not open yet. I was getting a bit carried away there.
Yes, I was going to say. Anyway, Formula Danny does need to make sure he's on the attack because he doesn't want Brendan Lee to get too far ahead in the championship in the early stages. I know he's only a handful of points, that's 6 points to be precise, ahead of Formula Danny, but nonetheless, he still needs to make sure he's in front of Brendan Lee for the next couple of races to cement his chances.
Absolutely. We do have a few runners trying out the soft tyres to start with. Just bring up that graphic. There it is. So Tim, non-runner, VP Max and Dorneden all try out the yellow mark soft tyres. Actually, Jan Fehler is down there. On our graphic, he's on the super soft tyres. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's actually on soft tyres. Although, like I said earlier, he wasn't particularly confident of his chances. And Kyle Hamilton is indeed out of DRS range of Brendan Lee. Brendan has managed to just break that between himself and the Williams, but that's 1.8 now between himself and the Force India. So Marcel Kiefer really coming alive in the early stages of this race, but we have seen it before. We saw it last week where Brendan started 6th and then just absolutely came alive in the latter part of the race to then just challenge for the win. You know, another, if the finish line was another car length further along the road, he would have probably stolen the win at the last.
Yeah, but one thing I would say, Brendan Lee is actually carrying an extra lap of fuel. That may very well be slowing him down. Per extra lap of fuel is about 1/10 of a second per lap, or maybe about 1/10 and a half. So that may very well make a difference. It does mean he's going to be more competitive towards the end. So that might explain that problem. But as in Azerbaijan, we will find out quite shortly, within the next half an hour, if Brendan Lee is going to be able to mount a challenge.
Sorry to cut you off yet again. I always apologise, Hamish. Oh, that Tim. Wow, Tim getting his elbows out on a Resi. Wow, and bearing in mind that Mercedes is on the harder tyres, and he is just really hustled a Resi for 9th position. A Resi's not having a good day here, and he is already on Wycombe's case. Do not discount Tino Nogarinen at all. He may well really get involved in the sharp end of the field as the race comes towards the closing stages. Again, jumping back up to the front though, look at this, it's a massive swarm of cars all heading down towards turn 11, and again Brendan Lee is just keeping his car out of DRS range of Kyle Hamilton, and I would imagine Hamilton just cannot attack as much as he would like, again because of that Sauber right on his tails. Formula Danny does look like he's going to shape up another move on the Williams ahead. We will see what he's able to do as they come back into the DRS zone again. And then Formula Danny just needs a decent drive out of 14-15, which he does. Hamilton gets a decent drive as well. DRS open on the Sauber. Is he going to be able to make a move on the inside of the heavy brakes out of turn 1? He is gaining. He's going to look on the inside. There he goes. Can he get it slowed down? He's got the move done, but can he keep it? Great switchback with the Williams. Well defended by Kyle Hamilton. That was very nicely done. Brilliantly clean by both drivers. And then you've got VP Steve already getting involved. There goes to Formula Danny once again into turn 4. That's very close. It's Hamilton Rosberg all over again.
Wow.
And he's got it done. What a move by the Sauber to take 3rd place. Very nicely done.
Yeah, you can tell. That's his veteran head on the inside. VP Steve, yeah, like I said, inside of Kyle Hamilton. He can't get a move done yet. Will he have another look into turn 10? He's already put pressure on once. Why not again? So close to the gearbox, pushing him around turn 10, but not quite able to do anything. DRS open for Kyle Hamilton and VP Steve. I doubt Hamilton's close enough to challenge Danny. No, he isn't now. Danny needs to really open up the taps now, and he needs to go pedal to the metal to try and close in on Brendan Lee.
We've seen him do it before, though. We saw him do it around Shanghai, where when he got free of the cars he was chasing, he just ran off into the distance and he really got his elbows out on Brendan Lee as well, and he's looking to repeat that. He's got 1.9 seconds to close down on the Mercedes, and at the moment either Brendan is just taking his time and keeping his tyres fresh or conserving the fuel. We saw that exactly as you mentioned, Hamish, he has got a fair amount of fuel in stock.
So VP Steve is trying a move on the inside of Carl Hamilton.
There he goes.
Very late braking, doesn't want to plow into the side of Danny, and
very nice.
Done with quite. I don't know if they touched it. I think they might have touched on exit, but it looks like Photon's trying to move around the outside of Hampton now. Who's the latest of the late breakers? He's going to have the outside, which will gift him the inside for the next corner, and he's going to have a good drive, but not quite good enough. Behind him, he's got Donoso, who's taken a pretty sweet 6 and 7, and he's going to try around the outside, braking late. Now I think he's going to get a good. He's lost a bit of front wing. That's going to slow him down.
He had such a great ringside seat for the battle ahead of him, and unfortunately, I don't think he was expecting Photon to lose quite the momentum he did through the twisty section 5 through to 8. Man, that's going to cost Donoso in the pit stops. Aresi has been in. We think he's had a front wing as well. He's now 19 seconds off the back of the pack, so the Ferrari runner is not having a good day here. Look at that, that's Photon right on the Williams case once again, on board with the Sauber as they come through turn 14 and 15. You can see that is VP Steve just ahead of them. Formula Danny already has 1.3 on the VP Steve. He is really running off, trying to close that 2-second gap down.
There's a move slow. There's a move from Wycombs on the inside to Donoso. He hasn't been able to make it work. It looks like 3 of the drivers are going to come into their pits. That's Carl Hamilton in the pits there. Donoso and who else? Someone else came to pits as well,
Donoso and Carl Hamilton came in. Wycombs was going to, and he actually bailed on it. He jumped out of the pit lane. Whether it looked like he was going to come into the pits, whether he was actually just picking up a bit more slipstream and had no intention of coming in, although his pit lane is on. I reckon he changed his mind at the very last second, which of course you are allowed to do. There's nothing preventing you doing that, and he's got Tim right on his case, so he has not been able to shake off the second Mercedes. Still staring at the back of Veloci Photon as score.
No, I was just going to say, someone in chat was asking about the amount of practice these guys do. It is a lot, yeah. About 20 hours a week is probably about right. It's a bit like having a part-time job if you want to be at the front of one of these splits, at the top split. So, yeah, about 20-25 hours a week would be easy for the top runners.
But also, a lot of these runners are lining up for the next F1 Esports event. The event itself has concluded, so the top 10 of each division, so Xbox, PC and PS4 are all going to be racing over the next 3 days. So a lot of them have put a lot of practice into this circuit for that reason as well. So that's something else to bear in mind. As Marcel Kiefer is in from the lead, Brendan has chosen to continue. And we had VB Steve also come in. So that's, of course, going to drop those two guys a fair way down. But, yeah, it's really going to start to come alive for Tim. He really needs to get clear of the McLaren. I'm surprised Wycombs didn't come in that time. But he has chosen to continue once more. And Tim really needs to clear these two. He's on a contra strategy to them, and his tyres are probably really biting quite well. Those super soft probably are quite dead by now. So he needs to get past these two to make his strategy work.
Yeah, another interesting thing, Formula Danny has been closing in on Brendan Lee. He's about half a second up on where he originally was when he passed Carl Hamilton. So he's doing a good job so far. Is Formula Danny going to come in before Brendan Lee? We will find out probably this lap.
Of course, the two Zaubers are right with one another as well. So whoever comes in first, the other cannot follow suit unless, of course, they go into stack, which is never beneficial to the second driver unless he comes in miles behind. Which, as you can quite clearly see, Photon's acting as rear gunner at the moment with the McLaren and Mercedes in very short successions. He flies a little bit too wide off the end of turn 13 as Max first penalty on the board, unfortunately. I think we saw that actually in the background of this particular shot. as they come around 14-15. Who's going to come in at the front? It's actually Photon. Actually, that whole... Oh, again, you saw Wycombs looked like he was going to follow suit. And again, I think he was just grabbing hold of a bit of slipstream. Failure is in. Interesting, Wycombs is really stringing on. But then so's Brendan Lee and Formula Danny. They are pushing those tyres quite a long way. Marcel Kiefer is in 10th at the moment. He's going to pick up 2 places, which he's just done from the 2 that came in. So a lot of people trying, exactly as we said at the beginning, a lot of people trying very, very different strategies. We had, of course, Aresi come in, but he had his front wing change, so he came in around lap 6. So we've had about half the field come in who started on the super soft runners, give or take, and yet we still have a decent amount of super soft runners still going. So yeah, this is going to be fascinating towards the end.
Yeah, considering these guys started within the top 10 as well. Obviously, if you'd had a couple of guys from like maybe P11 and 12 in Wycombs and Formula Danny's position, then maybe. But yeah, starting P10 and being able to make that last, that's a pretty good job. So they might even go onto the soft compound tyres, which would be pretty impressive if they're able to make that work.
Timp is right on Wycomb's case. He's going to look for a move into 14 at this rate, but Wycomb's getting a pretty decent drive away from 13 now. Tim's going to try and get into the slipstream with that DRS open. Wycomb's now finally coming into the pits of the McLaren, so Tim will get... Oh, that's painful. Couldn't slow it down enough. Wycomb's getting his name on the penalty board, which is actually very, very rare to see. So Tim then, an easy overtake. Oh, big lockups. He comes into turn 1. He now has his sights on Formula Danny. 2.8 is the gap between himself and Marcel Kiefer gets his name on the fastest lap board on the soft tyres as well. He is a man on a mission. I thought this before, where somebody sets the fastest lap that was previously leading, which makes me think, oh, Brendan Lee strung it on too long. And then Brendan Lee goes and runs off into the distance. So he really is one for making his tyres work very well, although he has got Formula Danny closing in on him little by little, lap on lap. But of course, don't ignore the fact that this man has just set the fastest lap on the harder tyres. It's still all to play for.
Absolutely. Marcel Kiefer is 15 and a half seconds behind Brendan Lee. A pit stop time around here, 21 seconds. So you do the maths, but that's about 6 seconds Kiefer's gained on Brendan Lee just by pitting a few laps earlier. Formula Danny's closing in really quickly on Brendan Lee. I'm not sure if he made a mistake somewhere, but it was 1.7. It's now 1.4. It even went down to 1.3 at one point. So I said point about 10 times. But Juvi's drivers come into pits. Brendan is coming into pits, and Formula Danny is also coming into pits. Timp is not, obviously, and nor is non-runner. The soft compound runners will not be pitting just yet, I wouldn't have thought. Now, let's see where Marcel Kiefer is. His teammate Dawn Needon has just came into the pits ahead of him. Where you had the double forced India in P6 and 7. So medium tyres for... And a considerable way ahead of Brendan Lee.
Medium tyres for Brendan Lee. Did the Sauber choose the same?
I think he did, I'm pretty
sure.
Did Danny do? Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's a scrap to the end for those two then, because Formula Danny's got a bit more traffic. Brendan came out in 7th. You can actually see him right in the centre of that pack behind the Williams. And then Formula Danny near the back of this particular train. Wycombs really did lose out after the pit stop round. Tim now leads the way by just under 2 seconds. There he is in the Mercedes with the Red Bull of non-runner in a very short succession. VP Max now up to 3rd in the Renault, with Marcel Kiefer now up to 4th position. You can just see him in the background of the shot behind the name board. He's got himself a gap of 7 seconds just shy between himself and VP Steve, and VP Steve pretty much leads this whacking great train of cars that contains Brendan Lee and Formula Danny.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Lee, he's really had the bad end of the stick on this one. He's a net P4 at the moment. Kiefer, VP Steve and Carl Hamilton have all pitted. Then we have Brendan Lee. And not only that, he's now in the traffic, what means the drivers of the likes of Formula Danny and Aresi and Wycombs can really start to put the challenge on and close on Brendan Lee. So, Brendan better hope he has the pace for later on in the race.
Well, indeed, he needs to keep it clean whilst those, or before those medium tyres come up to speed. Photon's going to have, of course, DRS on the back of the Mercedes. Brendan Lee has DRS on the back of Guy Hamilton. He's having a look on the inside of turn 1. Oh, my goodness me, that was a big moment there for Velocity Photon. He had to change line. He was on course to slam into the back of the Mercedes. That was well corrected there by Photon. That could have been, definitely could have been a talking point if the F2 champion had slammed into the back of the esports champion. That would have been a few words spoken there, I'm sure, but they continue on nonetheless. Brendan did look like he was thinking about a move on the inside of turn 1, but wow, Carl Hamilton's had a great run then, 5 through to 8. And so yeah, Brendan Lee is not going to have it his own way, I don't think.
No, we see Brendan so often just being able to run away with a victory, although he has gone on to those medium tyres, which I think is... let me have a look. Is he the only... Well, apart from... Oh, no, Formula Danny went on.
Him and Danny, yeah.
And so has Wycom's. Thaler, I don't think he's going to be one of the top guys challenging for the win. So we have got a few people who decide to go onto those medium tyres. So they are going to be quick towards the end. That is definite.
They are, if they can make their strategy work. They don't have trouble, don't hit anyone, as Tim has come in. That's actually a little earlier than I was expecting, but medium tyres then for the second Mercedes. So let's see where he comes out. Is he going to be...
Oh!
Go on.
Sorry, Marcel Kiefer's just tried to move up the inside of Max and has pulled it off as a Force India into turn 1. That's pretty solid for P2.
He's got to run, though, because he's on those soft tyres, which will not last to the end. He has got to really get himself a big old gap between himself and, of course, Brendan. Brendan is his main competition at the moment, so he's got a lot of work to do to make that strategy work. Where did Tim come out? He came out in 11th. He is on the medium tyres. There he is. He's on the back of that big train that his teammate is currently in. And Photon is keeping the pressure on the Mercedes. There they are. And actually, Formula Danny has managed to get past a Resi. So that was quite a key moment as well for Formula Danny. He's cleared the Ferrari. And it's unlikely that Photon is going to cause his teammate any particular trouble. Oh, big snap of oversteer then for the second Sauber. And he's struggling to keep up with the Mercedes ahead of him. They now come through turn 11. But equally, Brendan doesn't seem to be... He's either not pushing hard to keep up with the Williams ahead, or he's just struggling to do so. So he's still got a lot of work to do with the Mercedes.
He has indeed. Marcel Kiefer will probably need to pit again, latest lap 23. So
non-runners in.
So he has got about, well, he's got just under 9 laps to make it count. And Brendan Lee is about 10 seconds behind, and he needs to have a gap of, I don't know, 19 seconds. Probably 18 he could get away with, but he'd need to make an overtake. So he does need to really, really push now.
Indeed he does. As non-runner came in, that freed up Marcel Kiefer to try now and run off into the distance. He's got 7.2 seconds between himself and VP Steve. So Marcel Kiefer's got no one to defend against. However, Brendan Lee does not have the same luxury. He's got Carl Hamilton ahead of him that is defending pretty well, and also Photon that is keeping the pressure on. I don't know that Brendan Lee's paying too much attention to the Sauber behind him. Again, not meaning to sound disingenuous, but we're not seeing a great deal of defensive moves from Brendan at the moment. And I think he's just concentrating purely on attack to try and get past the Williams and kind of letting Photon kind of sort things out for himself, essentially. And Photon's got to be careful. He's on the wrong side of the fuel amount as well. If you look at the bottom right, he's minus fuel. So he's got a fuel save at some point. Brendan was 4 laps to the good. He's 2.5 laps, so still a decent handful, decent amount of fuel on that car. Carl Hamilton, he's got just over a lap, so he's got some spare to defend with. Marcel Kiefer, he's got 1.5, so he can really press on as well, and to try and build the gap to those behind him to make his strategy work.
Yeah. But he's doing a good job so far. He's able to maintain that gap. I'd say, it looks like Brendan's going to have a look on Carl Hamilton, not able to do anything just yet, though. Now you've got the 2 Saubers. You've got Photon on this soft and Danny on this super softs. Is there going to be any team orders? And if Photon is able to make a move from Brendan Lee, is he going to hold him up for his teammate? That would be quite an interesting thing to talk about if that happens. Both going through these S sections, really difficult and dirty air around this track. It's like Maggots and Beckett's.
He's staying right with the Mercedes though, so whatever he has in mind, he is keeping poised in order to enact it. But, well, team orders didn't really work very well for Red Bull in Baku, so let's hope we don't have that particular scenario acted out with the Saubers. And it seems to be there. That's where Brendan is really getting the traction when he needs it to keep the Sauber behind. Once again, Photon not in a position to attack after turn 10. Brendan's getting great traction when he absolutely needs it, and it's keeping himself in contention with Kyle Hamilton. I think now we might start seeing something. Brendan is keeping very close to the Williams. Kyle Hamilton had an okay drive out of 14 and 15. It's enabled him just open a little bit of gap. Is it enough? It is at the moment. So, I beg your pardon, that's 13 to 14 they've just gone through. And Hamilton had a great drive out of 14-15 that time, and not certain Brendan's going to be able to do anything with this on this lap. But of course, Photon is staying in short succession as well. And there he is. So it is status quo at the moment, as Timp has just gone past Wycombs, I've just seen at that very turn. So Timp has gained another position. He won't have to pit again. He's got Aresi actually. Aresi's his next car in line, although Wycombs is nailed to the back of the Mercedes at the moment. So it's not. Don't discount Tino. He could well make a difference yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Slightly disappointing drive at the moment from Donoso. He got a decent. I think it was P4 last time. Kodiak, correct me if I'm wrong. No, Donoso won.
No, he won, didn't he?
Won, obviously, yes. I think it was.
He won from pole, so I think he won.
Yes. Yeah, he did anyway. So that's a load of rubbish. But quite disappointing from Donoso. 17 seconds behind. He doesn't seem to be anywhere. But it looks like we've had a few drivers who are a bit quicker than usual. Wycombe seems to have some pretty solid pace. He definitely doesn't need to pit again. And if he can stay in Timp's slipstream, I think he's going to make good progress. I imagine the likes of Aresi, Photon, Hamilton, and Steve are all going to have to pit again. So watch those guys jump considerably higher than where they are at the moment.
Oh, we're shaping up for a move into turn 1. Sorry to cut you off there, Hamish. Brendan's having a look at the inside of Kyle Hamilton. Oh, that was more a defensive move against Photon. It's actually speaking of Donoso, he's just come into pits again. As VP Steve gets his name on the penalty board. Brendan went onto the inside. I thought he was going to make a move on Hamilton. He was actually cutting Photon off. And Formula Danny's in DRS range of this battle as well. Oh, Brendan, he's got it wrong. He's got it wrong into 4. The Saubers are side by side. And Photon's done it. What a move through 5, 6, and 7. He's got ahead of the Mercedes. Can he keep him there? Brendan's died on the inside. Oh, my goodness me. Contact between the two. That's now put Formula Danny into contention. My goodness me. Brendan Lee was not happy about that at all.
No, he wasn't. Brendan's a pretty well. We know how he is. He's a pretty aggressive driver, and he doesn't like it when people overtake him. And that was a classic example there. But yes, so Formula Danny right behind Brendan Lee. He's going to have DRS. Is Brendan? Brendan's probably not going to have it on Kyle Hamilton.
No, he's not. And
it's going to be really close. It's going to be so close, Kodiak.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a look, but I don't think he will. He might just pick up a little bit of slipstream.
Kiefer is in. Marcel Kiefer is in. So this is where the race is really going to come alive. Formula Danny is going to have DRS on the Mercedes. The Mercedes does not have DRS off the back of the Williams. Is Danny going to throw on the inside? Is Brendan Lee going to defend? He does. Oh. Danny stays on the racing line. Can he string him on the outside of turn 1? Can he say, oh, Brendan Lee really muscled the Sauber off.
His teammate's coming up behind, fought on round the outside.
Oh my goodness.
Of Formula Danny. So quickly, so smoothly. Is his teammate going to show a bit of courtesy to Formula Danny?
Oh, that's close.
It's close, but I think that was intentional, Kodiak.
Wow,
boy, that's close. Marcel Kiefer all the way down in P11. He has to absolutely be on it now. no mess ups at all. Where's him compared to Brendan Lee, a big championship rival? It's 10 seconds behind, so he needs to find 10 seconds, 10 laps roughly.
He's on soft tyres. He's on soft tyres, so it's going to be possible. I did wonder whether he would chance the super soft, but yeah, the super soft probably wouldn't do 10 laps in anger and have anything left towards the end. Wow, Formula Danny, I'm sure we'll have a few words to say about that move from Brendan Lee, but it's exactly what we've seen before from the Mercedes veteran. He is not afraid to get his elbows out to defend his line, but he's still not back in DRS range of the Williams ahead. Oh, it's so very close though. Might he do it? Formula Danny is just within DRS range of Brendan Lee again. If we go on board, and Brendan was actually following Carl Hamilton for a brief moment there as the Williams comes into the pits. Again, just picking up that last bit of slipstream. Go on.
I was going to say, Wycombe's again almost hitting the pit wall. He's that desperate to get the slipstream. Oh, but fair play on him.
That's
Tim.
Tim.
To work for him.
Look at that. That's Tim actually now up to 5th. He's right with the Saubers. My God, he's come out of nowhere.
And like I said, Wycombe's has sort of been following his slipstream, and I'd say Wycombe's is pretty much in the hunt as well.
Oh, Donoso. He's in last, unfortunately, but he's got his name on the fastest lap board.
Yeah, it looks... Yeah, it's a shame for Donoso. He might be able to pick up a point towards the end of the race. Steve is going to have to pit fairly soon-ish, I would have thought. But he will be able to go onto the super soft compound tyres, as Aresi has at the moment. He came in, as Kodiak said, where Wycombe's almost slammed into the back of him, but not quite.
There, you've just seen VP Steve actually go through the shot. So Formula Danny just hanging on to the DRS range of the Mercedes, but it is by the narrowest of margins. Brendan Lee now really pressing on to try and close the gap down to the leader. And Formula Danny is right on the limit as far as fuel is concerned as well. Brendan has got a lap and a half in hand, so he has got the advantage at the moment. Formula Danny is going to want to try and get ahead of the Mercedes and try and fuel save. VP Steve is in, so the lead is now going to go over to Brendan Lee for the final 10 laps of this race. It is anything but done, and Formula Danny just didn't have an answer at that particular. He only really gained a 10th or so. Photon is out of DRS range of his teammate. He's got Tina Nocarini, and he's got Tim right on his case. There's Wycombe's not too far behind as well. Wycombe's is within DRS range of the Mercedes now. He was out of it previously. You can see non-runner and Marcel Kiefer in the background. Marcel Kiefer's not out of it yet, but he has got a lot of work to do and not much time to get it done. Yeah,
what we say on that 13 Kodiak, and Brendan Lee looks a little bit out of it. No, he isn't.
He's done it again, yeah.
And he's really able to make the strategy work. Aresi's got a penalty, not that it's going to make a huge difference. He might lose one position to Donoso. Formula Danny just outside the DRS. He needs to close the gap by, 42 thousandths of a second. Then you've got a bit of a gap back to Photon, and Nukarinen's right behind him. Wycombe's again right behind him. Wycombe's has actually been going a little bit quicker than Timp over the last few laps, maybe because he's been held up by the Sauber, and the non-runner has a bit of a gap back as well.
We will see then as we got less than 10 laps to go. Marcel Kiefer is getting within striking range of the Red Bull ahead of him. That is non-runner. It's very, very close. Less than 3 tenths between them. It does look like it's going to be a pretty simple...
Take a look at Timp. He's trying to move now on the inside of Photon. Looks like it's probably move done. Is he going to get his braking right? Wow, Photon brakes late.
Beautiful.
Not late enough, and McLaren Wycombe's almost hits the back. I think he had to almost back out of that, did the McLaren driver, and textbook move by Timp. Next up the road is Formula Danny. Those drivers have a lot of racing experience against each other from last season. Aresi set another fastest lap.
He's on the super soft tyres, so he's wanted to get his name known as well as at the back of the field. Formula Danny is just teetering on the edge of DRS range. He's still got time to get that done though. Photon, his tyres are going to be pretty mullered before the end of the race. Wycombe's is within. Oh, that was... I wasn't sure if there was impact there, I think. Let's just have a look at the wing if we can see it. I'm not sure. There may have been a little bit of an impact between the McLaren and the Sauber. Didn't see a piece of carbon fibre go flying. See how he's handling the corners. Photon does look like that tail is starting to wag, so I would imagine Photon is going to probably pit pretty soon and get onto those super soft tyres. Those yellow marks tyres are not holding on too well. Now heading down towards turn 14 and 15. Wycombe's getting into range again. Nothing happening there. It's not really an overtaking spot. So is Photon going to come in? And yet again, Wycombe's doing that thing. He's grabbing as much slipstream as he can. Gets the DRS open. Photon does indeed come in. So that is fourth for the McLaren. He is chasing after Tim. Marcel Kiefer. There he is in the background.
I was going to say.
He's up to fifth. What's the gap between himself and the leader?
It's 6.4. Sorry. It's actually against Brendan Lee. He has been more than that second lap I was talking about on lap 18. He's got, how many laps has he got, Kodiak? 7 laps? Is it 6 seconds?
7 and a bit laps, yeah. So
and he's gaining by a second a lap, but he has to make the overtakes work, and all these drivers ahead of him will not need to pit on the medium compound tyres. But look how fast he's closing in to the likes of Wycombe's.
Absolutely. There he is in the Force India. So, that looked very deep. That looked. I think he's pushing a little too hard there. He lost a good half a second at least on Wycombe's after that. That's not going to help his challenge in the slightest. But you never know. You know, something could go wrong with those ahead of him. He's not. I don't think he's in a position where he's relying on that just yet. But he can't be making too many of those mistakes. He doesn't have a lot of time in hand. He's only got. He's just about positive fuel, but again, that's not by much. Brendan Lee has got 1.1 laps of fuel, so he can back up a little. Danny is still negative fuel. He's got to be careful in the Sauber. And again, the Mercedes is not doing too bad. Tim. I'm trying not to say Tina Locker really because he specifically asked me because I got to get into the habit of calling him Tim. So he is positive fuel as well. Wycombe's is just about just under a lap of positive fuel. So it's really Formula Danny has got it all to do.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, maybe Danny prefers that lighter car. You'll notice some drivers, because we noticed this last time. Remember how close Danny cut it in Azerbaijan, where he was pretty much minus going down the straight. Dunedin sets a quick lap at 29.6. That is a very competitive lap time indeed. So yeah, I mean, some drivers do like the lighter car, sort of a more qualifying car type feel. So you know, that is probably why Danny's got minus, but he hasn't got any fuel to play with now.
Marcel Kiefer has got DRS off the back of Wycombe, so he's now going to take the fight to the McLaren. Is Wycombe's going to let him go? Again, you as a driver know which battles you're realistically involved in, or is he going to defend that crucial 12 points? He hasn't had a great start to this season, so this will be a great haul of points for him and the McLaren squad. We will see what he's able to do. He may find he has no choice whatsoever. We've seen the incredible pace that is in that Force India. Now coming down to 14 and 15 once again. A little bit of a locker by Wycombe's not going to cost him too much. And all the while, Marcel Kiefer, even before they got into DRS range, he has been gaining and gaining and gaining. Now DRS is open for Marcel Kiefer. Is he going to try and move into the inside of one? It's going to be a hell of a dive bomb if he does it. He's going to have a look. Can he slow it down? Tiny bit of impact. Tiny bit of impact between the two, but he has managed to get it done on the outside of 2, and that is 4th position to the Force India. He's already having to defend from Wycombe's. He will have something to say. It's a tiny little impact between the two. I don't think Wycombe's will feel too aggrieved by that, and that is job done then for the Force India as they come through 5 down towards 8.
Yeah, I've raced against Wycombe's many times, and I don't think he's going to have too many words about that. If he wasn't overtaking on that straight, it would be on the next straight with his fresh tyres. I mean, the gap's already half a second, so yeah, I think Wycombe's knows when a battle has won or lost. But P5's a really fantastic result for him, so hopefully he can hold on to that. He's got a good gap to non-runner. Next up road for Marcel Kiefer, Tim.
It is Tim. He's got 5.5 seconds between himself and the lead, so he is just about keeping it with the pace that he needs to get on Brendan's tail. But is how much life is going to be in those tyres when he gets there? That's going to be the thing. We jump on board with the Force India. You can see all 3 of the cars that he's wanted to get hold of right ahead of him. Eyes on the prize, very much so for Marcel Kiefer at the moment. He's got everything to play for. And when you see the cars ahead of you that you're chasing, that does give you that extra bit of adrenaline, that extra bit of push to try and close that gap down. But he's got to keep it under control. And as you know, talk about the fuel amount again, it's not a great deal in Marcel Kiefer's favour. It's just about the positive, but he's got to be careful about it.
Yeah, it looks like the likes of Brendan Lee and Tim have started to use up some of their fuel now. It's about half of what it was when we last looked at it. Definitely trying to.
We have a problem
push
in
this
Sector 3. I wondered if that was Donoso, because we just saw him drop a position, but he's actually just coming through turns 1 and 2, so we don't know who that was, I'm afraid.
It doesn't look like anyone has lost too much.
It might have been Dorneden, because he suddenly dropped to 16 seconds down.
Oh, yes.
So, he had his name on the fastest lap board not too long ago, so it's still not really falling into place for the second Force India. And still, Formula Danny is in negative fuel, only just, mind you, so he will be able to save enough fuel to just make that into a positive, but he's got to cut it so fine.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Dorneden maybe spam the car, because he was sliding quite a lot, so that suggests his tyres have overheated, so he just needs to go a little bit slower now to bring them back to temperature.
1.4 separates Marcel Kiefer and Timp as they come around onto the start finish straight. Once again, no one is going to have DRS, really until you get to VP Steve down in 8th, and VP Max in 10th, and Donoso in 13th. But it is not something Marcel Kiefer is too worried about. We have got 4 laps to go, and gap to lead is 4.2, so he is losing a little bit on where he needs to be, but he is pressing on nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't think Danny is able to make any more use of what his tyres now. Is Tim going to be able to overtake Danny? He's been just outside that DRS for quite a while. Marcel Kiefer is going to have DRS, if not this straight, the next straight, because he is closing quick. So I think the best Marcel Kiefer can expect from this race is probably P2.
P2 is a realistic one. He's literally bang on the second of the DRS detection point. He hasn't got it this time. He most certainly will have it next time around. Well within the second now as he's staring at the back of that second Mercedes. Tib is very slowly reeling in Formula Danny, so it does look like we're going to have a three-way battle here for that all-important second position. But again, Brendan is not too far up the road. If he makes a mistake, he could well be dragged into this battle.
Absolutely. Sorry there, Kodiak. I had my game just randomly paused.
Oh, terrific.
It is. So, Marcel Kiefer, DRS on Timp. Is he going to make anything work? I don't think
Not
so.
from
It looks
that
like
range.
he's a little bit far back. We have seen some pretty spectacular moves. It's unlikely to be one, but he's closing. Damn, wow. I think he surprised us a bit there. He was closing very fast, although he didn't lose too much time from going deep.
I would imagine he probably caught himself out as well with how quickly he closed in on the Mercedes. 3 laps to go, and it is really not much between these 3 drivers, or these 4 drivers indeed, counting Brendan as well. Tino Nokarinen is within DRS range of Formula Danny, so he has got even more work to do. He's got fuel saving to get on with. He can't really attack Brendan Lee now, and it is now going to be a defence for the podium. But there's 3 drivers wanting those, 4 drivers wanting the podium spots. That's not a great camera angle we've got there. Let's jump on board with Tim. There he goes, the Force India. Is he going to have a look on the inside of 11? It's going to be a little bit desperate. Oh, he didn't need to do it. And indeed, he didn't try to. He knew he didn't really need to throw it on the inside of 11. That would have come to tears, I would think. But on board, if we jump on board with the Force India, just as he wanted, a little bit too wide and lost him a little bit of momentum into Rich once again. As they head down towards 14 and 15, they're now going to be back into the DRS zone. The tail of that second Mercedes kicked out. 2 laps to go. DRS open on the Mercedes. DRS open on the Force India. Who is going to blink first? Marcel Kiefer is going to size up a move on the inside of 1 again, but he got very well defended there by Tim. He shut that door. It was firm but fair, but it was clean.
Yeah, that was so close. I think Tim was looking at a move on Formula Danny, which is why he defended seemingly so heavily, but I don't think it was a defensive move. I think it was an offensive move on Danny, because Tim now has should now have the DRS on Danny, and as Brandon Lee made a mistake because he's either going slow or lost quite a bit of time there. It was 2 seconds, it's now 1.4, and Danny was closing in quickly on lap 28. It almost looks like Brandon's losing even more time. I doubt he is, not according to the time, but he is losing more time. That is very strange indeed.
He is, but it's not quick enough as we only have just over a lap to go. Yet again, we are looking at an incredible final lap between our best drivers. There's now less than 1.3 separating Formula Danny and Brendan Lee. It could be that Brendan has got a problem. It could be he's just backing off to make sure his fuel lasts. We don't know. We will hopefully be able to speak to them after the race. It is Formula Danny defending from one Mercedes and trying to catch the other. It is the contender in the Force India on the back. Tim has had a great drive out of 14 and 15. He surely is going to be mounting an offensive move on the Sauber. The Sauber's already gone to the defensive line. Formula Danny really defends. Oh my goodness me! That's a huge move! Oh no! Tim and Danny have gone off the road. That's allowed Marcel Kiefer to slide through. That is the final lap. Oh goodness me! And Tim appears ahead of the Sauber. There's going to be quite a lot of words on that one, I would imagine.
Yes, I think there is. Brendan seemingly isn't using the maximum of his gears. I think he has a gear issue, Kodiak. He was weaving a lot as well. Again, Marcel Kiefer's gained 4 tenths just in that sector. This is pretty interesting stuff. Brendan gone a little bit deep there. I don't know if he is carrying issues, because boy, this is so close. It's within DRS. I don't think it's going to be close enough. Marcel Kiefer will have DRS, but for about 100 meters, not what he needs.
He needed another lap to be able to mount an offensive, unless of course Brendan falls off the road in the last few turns. Of course, Marcel can well and truly see how quickly he is closing in on Brendan Lee. It is last week it was a Force India fight. It was a Haas fighting off Brendan Lee. Now Brendan Lee is in the defensive spot. Marcel just needs a decent drive out of 14 to 15 to have a decent chance. Brendan is weaving all over the road. He looks like he's going to get it, and he does indeed by half a second. The winner here at Sakir is Brendan Lee. As a Photon gives himself a penalty right at the end there. Second place. What a drive, though, by Marcel Kiefer to make the two-stop strategy work. He has come home in second position. Tina Norkarinen, oh my goodness me, there's going to be a few things said about that move on Formula Danny at the end. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that is sent up against the stewards. There is the Sauber of Formula Danny currently in fourth. Wycomb's a decent drive for him, coming home in fifth. Non-runner, sixth position in the Red Bull. Carl Hamilton is in seventh. There he is in the Williams, and didn't get a chance to go through everybody else before the rest of the players had come across the line. What a finish!
Yeah, that was a pretty amazing race, to be honest. Also, I think Brendan may very well have just backed off towards it. We do often see he's a very confident driver, as we know by talking to him. And sometimes he does sort of just back off, just to say, you know, I am here, but you're just not quite quick enough. And I think today might be a classic example of that. Hopefully, he'll come and talk to us and let us know. But I can already tell you, Tim and Marcel Kiefer want to talk to us. Boy, it's going to be interesting to see what Tim
already
has
made
to say
themselves available.
about the little incident.
This is going to be interesting, I suspect. Right.
Will be.
Right, let me just set things up then for our interviews, because, yeah, this is going to be fabulous, I suspect. Bear with me just a second whilst I do so. If you want to drag them over, Hamish, whilst I set things up on this side. And yeah, this is going to be good fun. Well, good fun for us, I suspect. And we have some people in the box with us right then. First of all, I want to have a word with the McLaren Wycombs. What a drive for you. It's not been a great start for the season for you, but a decent finish to come home in 10th. How are you feeling, sir?
In 10th?
In fifth, sorry, for 10 points. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Well, it was sixth because I speeded in the pit lanes and non-runner got through.
Oh, I see. But you crossed the line in fifth. We saw you having a decent run in fourth for a while. You must be feeling quite happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, already in practice yesterday, I felt like it was the first time since, I don't know, many months where I actually thought I had a decent pace. Unfortunately, I messed up qualifying completely. Otherwise, I think I could have challenged even for a podium here today, pace-wise. But yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely kept out of trouble for the first time this season in the first stint, and then tried to follow Tino a little bit. But yeah, his tires were just so much better than mine, so I couldn't follow to make a charge for the podium. But I mean, really, it's good to have an incident-free race and to have good pace again, I guess.
Great stuff. It's good to see you towards the sharper end as well after your trials and tribulations that you had, particularly last season. Right, speaking of Mr. Norcarina, let's have a word with the Mercedes driver. What an action-packed race for you. We were following you for quite some time, and then you had that little moment on the last lap there. So how was the race for you?
Well, I sacrificed my qualifying again to get a better race result, and that worked like a charm. Like same thing what happened in China. I mean, on the first stint I was just I just got a DRS from Wycombs every time, and that really helped me on my race time. And yeah, and then when I pitted, I also overtake him very fast and with no time lost. And then I saw Brendan and Danny like really close to me, and yeah, that's really motivated me to like push even more, and even to like for potential win and stuff like that. And yeah, then that last lap happened. I don't know, Danny moved under braking in my opinion, but yeah, I don't know how it looks like in Europe and in all of POV, but on my POV he moved under braking, so yeah.
Fair enough. Right, another person that is with us in the box. Last week's winner didn't quite go your way this time, Mr. Donoso. So what happened?
I don't know. I mean, in this track, I'm just slow. I have no excuse today. The only thing I lost about 10 seconds with my front wing damage, but again, no excuse. I was just slow today. I don't know why the track doesn't suit my style or something. I don't know. But I hope it's the only track that going to be like that, and come back next week with a win, hopefully.
Excellent. We look forward to seeing it. And finally, this interview would not be complete without speaking to the man of that incredible drive, none other than Marcel Kiefer. How are you feeling? You must be pretty happy with that.
Yes, indeed. First of all, thank you, Kodiak, for those nice words. I'm happy. It could have been P1. I got stuck in the traffic a bit on my second stint, but I can't complain. 4/10 to Brandon was a decent result, and what matters in the end is a 1-2 from esports and cars. And I want to take this moment to thanks and greet our boss Darren Cox and all the other guys that are working behind the scenes. They are putting in so much work, and it pays off. Like, you could see it today. We completely, okay, I wouldn't say dominated because it sounds so cocky, but yeah, it was more or less like a domination of esports and cars. And I'm just happy for the team. I'm also happy that I could represent our league sponsor for the first time, actually on a good position and not on P9 or out of the points. So I think I'm back.
Excellent. Right, and that's everybody that has made themselves available for our interview this evening. So let's wrap it up here. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. It's always a good pleasure to have you along for the ride. Thank you very much, Hamish, for being with me in the box. Always invaluable to have you with me, good sir.
No worries, it was a fantastic race. Once again, our job's made easy by you drivers because level of racing is so high this season.
Absolutely, it is a great honour and a pleasure to talk about the best of the PC best. But we thank our drivers as well for putting on an incredible show. And if I've said it before and I'll say it again, if this is a precursor for the rest of the season, then what a season we have got in store for us. Thank you very much, and we will see you back here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.